My name's Makai Green, and you're listening to The Simple Idea, a podcast about taking action on the things that matter to you. In each episode, you get to hear from people across the world discuss how they acted on their simple idea and tackled projects that gave them personal fulfillment. Now let's get into today's episode. Hey guys, welcome back to this week's episode. And today, as you can already tell, there is no guest, but that's okay. I figured I would just talk about consistency and some of the momentum that I've been seeing after being consistent for just a month. And I'll kind of just go over how I feel about it, some of the things that have been going on with the podcast and with my personal website, and some other things that I'm looking to explore. But more importantly, like I said, to start off the year, I'm really focusing on trying to get 52 episodes up this year, excuse me. So there will be, or the goal is to have one episode every week. So even if it's an episode like this from time to time where I kind of just share the progress of the podcast myself, whatever it is that I have going on, I would rather do that than not, stick to that goal just because I don't have a guest. But with that said, even though there isn't a guest this week, we should have some lined up over the next few weeks. And I anticipate having at least one or two for the next two episodes. Really, with recording a podcast and more specifically with a show like this where a large portion of the content is sharing the experiences of other people, it really comes down to whether or not I can get in contact with people. So just bear with me if there are weeks where I am not recording with another person. But yeah, with that out of the way, I just kind of want to share my results from the past month of being consistent. And we're going to backtrack back to, let's say, the middle of December. So maybe December 10th-ish. So that's about a month or so at this point. I have finally reached 1,000 page views on my blog, which is makaigreen.com. If you guys aren't familiar with it already, that's MEKHIGREENE.com. And I think this is just due to me being a little bit more consistent with uploading or publishing posts. And I've actually started to share some of my work on social media more so. So that's where a large amount of my following is coming from. It's just, or not following, but my page views is coming from social media. So just me tweeting or putting up an Instagram story. And I've found that that's actually helped, help my website get some visits. So yeah, 1,000 page views. I never thought I would get to that point. The last time I checked, I think it was at 1,200, which, I would never expect 1,200 page views at all, especially a year ago today. I was not even close to being in that situation or in that, situation, yeah. So it's nice, and it feels a little weird. I'm not really sure what to do with it because I'm not sure what things I should be doing or the things that are working. And I know what works, but I don't know what I need to keep doing to do more with this. So at this point in time, obviously keep publishing consistently and, sharing the work. But I don't know, just trying to navigate that realm of how to scale it up a little bit more without losing traction, without messing things up. Because I haven't been here before. I've never had 1,000 page views. So it's a new experience for sure. There's something else I want to say about that. Oh, but yeah, with the page views, I'm getting people to look at my content now, which is cool. I feel like I have some pretty interesting articles here and there, but I kind of want to capitalize on people visiting. So that's where an email list comes into play. And I don't have too much experience with building lists at all. And that is something that I'm currently in the process of doing. So I'll just kind of make a quick little plug. I'm in the process of releasing that email list. And it's going to be called my weekly review. So I don't want to make it seem like every other email list out there where you probably get spammed with a bunch of stuff that you don't really care about. If you are interested after I'm done talking about it, feel free to go join. It should be live over the next few days. But the weekly review is just essentially whatever article I published that week, which is no more than a 6 to 8 minute read at the very most. And then I'll probably attach some really cool insights that I found throughout the week, whether it's an application, a blog post, a podcast, a quote, a song, anything that I've kind of pulled some inspiration from or something that's kind of impacted me I was not tremendously, but I found some type of um, connection to whatever piece of content it is. It'll just be in that weekly review. So just stuff that I'm kind of interacting with throughout the week. And they'll be very quick reads. Like I said, it might just be like a random app, a random podcast episode, a conversation I had with somebody, plus the publication of that week, which is no longer than like 5 minutes early. And that's pretty much it. And the goal is to kind of just keep people up to date with my articles and to share some really cool information with people. Still working out the details and figuring out when I'm going to be publishing the weekly review. It'll probably be on Sundays or something. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really excited about it. I'm just trying to capitalize on having people come to the site. So I think this is the next step and kind of just scale from there. So moving on to the podcast and some of the momentum that I've seen with that, with being consistent. I'm pretty sure I've uploaded an episode. I think it's been like 5 or 6 episodes over the past month and a half, which would equate to about an episode a week, which is good. It's the most consistent I've been in recent months. For those of you who have listened for the past year, you'll know that I took breaks throughout the year, with my largest gap being between, I think it was September and November, where I just didn't upload for 2.5 months. And even with not uploading, I still had some downloads, which is pretty interesting. Unfortunately, with the version of Libsyn that I have, or like my subscription version, I'm not able to track all of my analytics. So I'm not exactly sure where every person is coming from who is downloading, but that's besides the point. The point I'm trying to make is that I didn't really do a whole lot during that 2.5 month gap. So this consistent uploading schedule that I have, even when it's episodes like this, I found that just by sharing them and being on top of it, obviously I'm getting some more downloads from that. So as of January 13th, which was when we hit like the 80 download mark, I want to say, I have 80 downloads. And today, what is today? The 16th. So this is literally being recorded now, and tomorrow's Friday, so you guys will be hearing this tomorrow or whenever you listen to it. I have around 100 at the moment, so halfway through January, and we're already at 100 downloads. And the goal is to get to maybe 150 for this month. I think that's somewhat realistic. If we can have between like 150 and 200 downloads a month by March, that would be pretty solid, considering that we're already at 100 now. Not too bad. So really just by sharing my work and by staying on top of it and just being like very engaged with what I'm doing, I've noticed that things are moving a little bit differently, which is great. And once again, sorry, I know I say this all the time, but just sorry for the whole rambly bits here. Still trying to like navigate what to do with all the momentum that I'm picking up. And once again, this is just from me being consistent, just from me uploading and sharing and not really caring about what other people think of the work that I'm putting out there. And I think to a certain degree, caring is definitely important. You want to make sure you're putting out good content. You want to make sure you're putting out something that's worth listening to or watching or reading. But at the same time, you shouldn't really concern yourself with the opinions of people that may judge your work, because at the end of the day, people are going to judge your work regardless. And you don't want to live your life in fear based off of how people feel about what you're doing, which is kind of what I did before, or maybe not so much being in fear, but just being uncomfortable with that idea. And I'm at a place right now where I'm trying to just make myself as uncomfortable as possible so that I can get comfortable. And I know I said this in one of the earlier episodes last year around this time, but it's something I'm actually practicing now. And because of that, I'm starting to see some momentum and some traction. So I guess this is a good thing. And it feels really weird. Right now, it's based off of how I feel, which is the next kind of section or talking point that I have for this episode. How do I feel? I kind of feel a whirlwind of emotions with all this because, like I said before, I haven't necessarily been in this position where I'm getting page views and traction. And I totally forgot to mention this too. The podcast page has around 1,000 page visits a month at the moment too, which is pretty impressive considering that I haven't really done much. And once again, that's just through social media and sharing whatever episodes that I've recorded through social media, through sites like Twitter and Instagram. Yeah, back to how I feel. Definitely a little bit of emotions all over the place. And really, I'm just trying to get a direction or some traction as to where I should be going, and how I can scale this without losing that momentum. So yeah, some days I feel really happy. Some days I'm happy, excited, really animated, and I'm pumped. I'm ready to keep, trying to build this thing. But at the same time, there is a little bit of, I don't want to say fear. I don't want to kind of just go to that word out of habit. I don't want to call it fear, but a bit of nervousness, I guess you could say. And it gets me a little bit down because it's nice to be able to be like, hey, I have this many downloads, I have this many page views, people are seeing what I'm doing, this is cool. That means people are kind of liking what I'm doing, or maybe they're like taking a peek. But it's how it's at a point like where I'm like, how do I get the people who are taking a peek to be more invested in what I'm doing, and how can I share this with other people so other people can benefit from the stuff that I'm creating? Because at the end of the day, I really started this podcast originally just to talk about personal development related topics, and that's always been the trend with it. But over the past year, I've kind of narrowed in and focused in on what I want to be doing with the show, and it's really just inspiring other people to do the things that they care about. So if I can get more people to know about this, that's ultimately what would make me happy, is to hopefully have this show, maybe have somebody hear what I'm saying, reach them, and they realize, hey, I can do something that I care about, even if it's small at first. I can build it, I can grow it. And that's what I'm trying to do with this. I'm trying to build it, I'm trying to grow it, and I'm trying to walk people through what I'm doing real time, so that I can kind of help them and see that it is possible to do that thing. And maybe that's why I have this whirlwind of emotion, because there's a lot of different stresses involved with this, such as making this into something, the thing that I envision it being. And, just kind of having it go somewhere. But I have to remember that I'm still at the start of this. So I think the feelings that I have are normal, like my feelings of being really happy and motivated. And then just being kind of like, not down, but just like, man, like this isn't moving as fast as I want it to be, or it's not working how I originally thought it would be, or I don't know what to do with all this attention that I'm getting now. It's stuff like that. I think it's all normal. I think it's all a part of the beginning stages of creating anything. Whether it's a business, getting into a new hobby, you're going to have your ups and downs, your moments of doubts. And kind of just like little, what's the word? Little flashes of imposter syndrome. And like, who am I? And this is how I feel at times. Who am I to say that, I'm a writer or I'm a podcaster? Because in comparison to other people who run podcasts or other people who blog or write, I might not be the best person out there to be writing or to be blogging, but I don't think that's what I should be focusing on. I think I should be focusing on what I'm doing, and then really just attempting to get better each and every day, and tying this back into consistency. As long as I keep my head down, I do the things that I need to be doing. Eventually people will gravitate towards what I'm doing. And I think that's all that matters at the end of the day. And this has been a very rambly episode. So once again, I apologize. A ton of different thoughts, excitement, nerves, always different things across the board. But I think you guys get an idea as to what I'm getting at. It's just nice to have some momentum. And really, it's just because I'm doing all the things that I think I should be doing. Now I need to figure out step 2 and where I need to take some of this momentum and put it towards. But I'm going to end the episode here, just, not to keep it too long or rambly. I think you guys have an idea as to what's going on with me, with the podcast, and with my blog. Once again, if you're not familiar with my blog, it's makaigreen.com. And I know I plugged this earlier, but I'm going to say it one more time. I'm in the process of launching my weekly review, so if that sounds interesting to you, head over to makaigreen.com, and there should be a tab called Weekly Review. You can join there, and basically with that, I'll just be able to share any posts that I publish that week, on top of a very small insight like a quote, cool new app, etc. I think you guys get the idea. But yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for sticking around. For those of you who have listened over the past year, and even if you're new, thank you for joining me. New episodes soon. And normally there are guests, so just kind of bear with me for today. And before we close out this episode, I just want to mention that if you enjoy these episodes, please head over to iTunes, leave a quick rating or review. It takes no more than 30 seconds, and it kind of helps the show get some more exposure, lets me know what I'm doing well. And the reviews don't need to be, what's the word? They don't have to be in my favor. If you genuinely do not like what I'm doing and you think I can be doing something different or I can improve in one way or another, please let me know. Any feedback is critical feedback, and I won't take offense. And if it's good feedback, that's obviously good too. That means I'm doing something right. But just feedback in general is something that I'm looking for. And I'll mention this in another episode or get more into it. But I'm also looking to get you guys more involved for those of you who are listening. So feel free to email me at thesimpleideapodcast@gmail.com. I'll link it in the episode description. Just because I'm looking to get you guys more engaged. So if you have any ideas for engagement or things that you want to ask me or ask some of the guests, shoot them in an email to me and I can try to go over them. But that's all I have for you this week, and I will catch you guys next week. Peace.